This is a Glock. There are many like it, but this one is mine. I know that's an old cliche from one of the best freaking military movies ever made. Full Metal Jacket. Shout out to all the Marines. All right, guys, what's going on, everybody? Mario here. Guys, I wanted to talk a little bit about Glock pistols, especially for a lot of you guys out there that are thinking about purchasing one. This video is mostly for a lot of my fellow Californians who are all of a sudden wanting to purchase guns, and a lot of these new buyers are millennials and people that have never considered buying a pistol before. So I wanted to touch bases with you and and just give you guys different ideas of why you should purchase different types of pistols. This one here happens to be a small Glock 26. This is one of their smaller pistols that they have. They have a Glock 43, but that's mostly for law enforcement. So for a lot of the civilians out there, this is the gun that you'll be able to purchase. This is a smaller gun. I happen to have very small hands, so this fits me nicely. If you have bigger hands, then I would consider you purchasing a bigger pistol. All right, so this one, the 26, as you guys can see, is a 9x19 or 9mm round. These also come in 40 Smith & Wesson. These are very easy to use. They have what they call the safe action trigger. If you guys can see, there's a little piece. Oh, by the way, it's clear, guys. So as you guys see, it has this little plate right here on the actual trigger. So when it's pressed correctly, then it engages the trigger, and then you're able to fire the weapon. That's pretty much the easiest way I can explain this to you guys. So this one is a very small, compact pistol. This one I sometimes carry on my pocket, or I carry, this is more like my summer. But I happen to use it more as an everyday carry type of gun. I like it, and I'm very accurate with it. Okay. Here's my other one. This one happens to be for, I happen to use this one for home defense, and this one is a Glock 23. This is a 40 Smith & Wesson caliber. I like this. This was actually my first pistol I ever purchased, and I pretty much designated this pistol for home defense. As you guys can see, I have a 300 lumen a stream light that I could engage if somebody happens to be in my house. And I believe, to me, 300 lumens is more than enough of what you need. And I have my reservations of going into higher illuminations for home defense, but to each his own. This one is what they call a semi-compact. No, this is more of a compact model size. As you guys can see, I hold it very well. I happen to have very small hands, guys, but it doesn't stop me from being effective with it. Okay, same thing, same type of trigger. These triggers are all going to be the same on the Glocks. Okay, one thing you'll notice about the Glocks that you can purchase in California is you can only purchase the older version of the Glock, which is the Gen 3. The Gen 4 and the Gen 5 is only for law enforcement. So you are pretty much stuck with the Gen 3. But I happen to think that, and a lot of people who know a little bit about pistols would tell you that the Gen 3 is actually one of the best and most reliable pistols out there. It just has less bells and whistles than the Gen 4 and the Gen 5. And they shoot a lot more effective. And the last one that I have is the same thing, same size as this one, but this one's a 9mm. This is the Glock 19. This is I would probably say the most popular gun that Glock makes. This one's chambered in 9mm. Yes, it is clear, guys. It is by far one of my favorites, and I carry this one along with the 26 on a regular basis. Now, there are other types of caliber. You can get these in 45. You can get these in 40 Smith & Wesson. You can get, 380s if you happen to be law enforcement, or if you buy it from somebody who has it already. That's always another way that you can go about it. They also sell 357 SIG version, and that's pretty much it that I can think of for the state of California. Now, the state of California does not have a lot of pistols that they can carry, because they have a list of pistols that you can purchase in the state of California. So I wanted to show you guys my 3 Glocks, and to me, all 3 of these are very effective for what I use them for. This Glock 19 happens to be the one I use a lot for personal carry, because I have a concealed carry permit, and this one as well. This one I have a tendency of using it more in the summertime, and because it's easier to conceal. And this one, my 40 Smith & Wesson Glock 23, happens to be the one I use for home defense. Now, when it comes to caliber, I can tell you guys that the Glocks were pretty much built for 9mm. Anything other than that, I feel that the Glock is just not a fun pistol to shoot. You know, when I shoot the 23, as much as I like it, I have a tendency of not want to shoot it as much, because it's not really a fun gun to shoot. But it does get the job done. One thing I do like about the Glocks, guys, is that there's so many accessories that you can buy for these type of pistols. These are pretty much, very well and very reliable. They don't jam as much. I shoot a lot of reloads, and I shoot a lot of, cheap ammunition. And this thing will shoot anything that you throw at it. I have yet to see anything that it does not shoot out of these pistols. So that's the reason why I really like this pistol, because it doesn't have those tight tolerances like other pistols out there. And as you guys get to know more about pistols and stuff like that, you'll know what I'm talking about. But I wanted to make this quick video just so that if you guys have we have a lot of new shooters out there and they want to get into purchasing a gun, should they consider a Glock? There's a lot of good upsides when it comes to a Glock. One is that you can find a lot of accessories for it. As you guys can see on this one, I ended up, customizing the plate. You can put night sights on it. You can put a light. You can do so many other things, guys. You can redo your slides. There's so much stuff that you can do to it. These have so many accessories that you can do to them that it makes it easy, obviously you can, the gun for itself is a very, what I would consider medium price gun. Many of them going between $530 to $600. And that's a really good price for these types of guns, because some of the other ones, as you start getting into it, they're a little bit pricier, and sometimes they're out of your budget, out of the range that you want to purchase a gun. So if you live in the state of California and you're thinking about purchasing a Glock, one thing I can tell you is that it's a very reliable gun, but I would tell you that you need to practice with it a lot more, because the fact that it doesn't have a safety. So you have to, you have to know how to, keep your finger off the trigger, and make sure that you are nowhere near the trigger unless you're getting ready to shoot at someone who is a threat to you, okay? And that sometimes it's a little hard for new shooters, which have a tendency of wanting to put their finger right here, and that's a big no-no. So this sometimes may not be the best gun for a lot of the the new shooters that are coming into it. But if you do, just be very disciplined when it comes to your trigger, keeping your finger off the trigger, because you just definitely don't want to have a negligent discharge, either hurt yourself or hurt somebody else, guys. But 3 things that I do like about it: it's affordable. 2 is that it has a lot of accessories, and 3 is that it's really reliable. And I know that there's a lot of people out there that don't like Glocks because there's so many things. They have too much plastic. They are not the most ergonomical type of pistols out there. They're not easy to shoot. Some people just don't like the way they feel. especially when you start getting to the point where you see how you have finger grooves on this one. I ended up taking those off. I pretty much customized this one with the grip. It's not the greatest, but it worked for me. All right. But guys, there's a lot of things that you can do to them, and they are, I feel that the 9mm Glocks are the most fun pistols to shoot. They run really good. You hardly ever have any other problems. Another thing that I really do also like about the Glocks is their magazines. These magazines are very, very reliable, and you cannot always say that about every manufacturer's magazines. But this one, they're made out of hard plastic, and it's got a cover inside with metal, and just very, very awesome, proven magazines. And one thing I like about these magazines is that a lot of other pistols, like let's say you decide to get yourself into guns, a lot of these magazines fit other, like what we call carbines, or like rifles that shoot pistol cartridges. So I mean, there's a lot of good positive things about Glocks, just like there's a lot of things that are not so good. I would tell you that this gun is a defensive gun, meaning that if you have a threat between 15 meters from you, that you can be very effective. Even for me, who I happen to be, I consider myself an intermediate shooter, I have a hard time shooting at 25 meters with a Glock. And I don't know why, but it just happens to me that maybe it's just the way the gun is. It's not the most comfortable for me. And when you're shooting at 25 meters, you have a tendency of wanting to have a good ergonomics on that gun when you're holding it. And so sometimes I'm not as effective at 25 meters with a Glock. But, in a defensive purpose, like if somebody's trying to break into your house, most of those types of engagements, you're going to see between 7 to 15 meters. And I'm sure that you'll be able to be very effective with the pistol. These are very good and easy for women to shoot. Sometimes the rack or the slide, it's a little hard for them. But if they get used to it and they practice, they'll be fine with it. But they're really fun to shoot, and what I like about them is that they're effective. They do the job, and you're not breaking the bank with them. Another note: a lot of law enforcement use Glocks. Sometimes that may be a good thing or a bad thing. People have a tendency of thinking that, well, it's because Glock gives law enforcement agencies such a good deal that they can't pass up. That might be the reason. Another reason is the fact that they like him because if they ever need to draw their weapon, they know that it's going to shoot. And that's the bottom line, guys. That's what we want, is that when you have to use your pistol, that it works for you, right? The last thing you want to be doing is trying to rack another, let's say the round doesn't go through and it gets jammed and you're trying to pull the slide. Those precious seconds could cost your life. So just something for you to think about. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments box. Again, I made this mostly for California gun owners, especially the newer ones out there that are considering a Glock. I hope that you guys like this video, and if you guys have any questions or comments, please leave them down. I'm more than happy to answer them. If I don't have the answer, I will seek the answer for you. So I hope that helps you at all. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like always, God bless you. God bless the United States of America, and I'm out.